Nobody gives a fuck about you. It's liberating. It's not a curse. You have free will. Fucking use it. Or something. I don't know. Bye.
Do you constantly wonder what's in other people's pants? Do you your own pants when you see a minivan with a coexist sticker? Do you look like Bobby Hill having an allergic reaction to peanuts? Do you flirt with sex bots on Threads and X? Do you have a Grindr account that your battered wife doesn't know about? Do you call yourself a Christian but still want to torment the less fortunate? Did you cry like a little baby for 2 years because you had to wear a mask, but now you want to wear one to hide your identity? Do you post into the void on Facebook all day because your friends and family no longer speak to you? Do you have several DUIs and a possession charge but still want to enforce the law? Do you unconditionally worship a Are you not allowed within 500 feet of a school? Do you instantly believe the AI slop you see online but get viscerally angry when presented with a fact? Do you smell like Bush Light, Pall Malls, and taint sweat? Do you get winded when you climb a flight of stairs? Would your search history get you arrested if the FBI weren't already on your side? Do you hate your neighbors who are smarter and more successful than you and want to get revenge? If so, join ICE. Tell yourself you're a rebel by following unconstitutional orders from someone who will never know or care that you exist. No one can tread on you because you'll be devouring the boot. Compensate for your micro by innocent teenagers. Those blue hairs will never hurt your feelings with their fashion choices or unwillingness to you again. Stick it to those academics and intellectuals by doing exactly what they said you would do. No one will miss you when you're gone. So join our team at ICE. ICE. Arming the village idiot since 2003.
And good morning, evening, afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. I am Skeptically Speaking.
And I am Sweet Pea from across the pond.
And looks like you found us again. You found us on YouTube, but did you also know that you can find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Twitter, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, also Substack. Who knew? Small world. If you want more independent media in your life, please consider supporting the show. You can do that via Cash App, Venmo, or Patreon. Become a patron subscriber. Link will be down in the description. How are you doing today, Sweet Pea?
I'm doing better today. How are you doing, Skeptically?
I'm all right. Could be better. Been better,
Okay.
but I'm not doing horrible. Just, you know.
That's good.
I mean, I guess the only horrible thing is just learning more and more about the people around you and just the absolute, you know, just the fucking shenanigans. You know, it's like, this is why I try not to get to know people on a personal level, because it's like the more you learn about them, it's like the less you want to know them, and the less you want to be around them.
Yeah, but there's some people that are worth getting to know. You know?
Oh yeah. There
is some good people out there. You know?
When you find them, let me know. Yeah, like idiots like this guy here, we're going to be talking about this whore in church, also known as Pastor Ice. We're going to be delving into him a little bit.
Aww.
But yeah. Who knew that somebody like this can pastor a church and be an authoritarian fascist fuckwit and be totally A-okay with that? And his church congregation seems to be A-okay with that. But before we delve into that, some good news. Melania's biography, if you want to call it that, has royally flopped. Not only here in the United States, but overseas. No one's going to the viewings. No one wants to see it. So MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer United Artists, whatever the fuck, decided to helm this project. Well done, guys.
In today's episode of As the White Hood Turns, have y'all heard about that lady over there and her documentary that's supposed to be premiering tomorrow on Prime? Have you? Because I have. And I'm here to tell you that apparently it ain't going well. So listen. They were doing a limited release and the ticket sales were so poor. I think them ticket sales was worse than the last 3 Sydney Sweeney movies. Oh, Lord have mercy. When I tell you that they...
One thing that pisses me off is them shoving Sydney Sweeney in our faces. I mean, she's become the barnacle on a whale's ass. It's like, she's not that talented. Why? And I told you a couple weeks ago, I was getting assaulted. My eyes were assaulted by Sydney Sweeney this, Sydney Sweeney that, article after article after article about all these movies that she's doing. It's like, what is it about our media? What is it about our media? Why is it that they are so vested in promoting Sydney Sweeney? What are they getting out of it? And then she does this latest stunt where she hooks up one of her bras to a bridge somewhere in the middle of the night. It's like, I guess to drum up interest in her lingerie line that she's releasing. It's like she carries herself like a child.
I'm sorry, but like most people, if you pass a bra on the bridge and you don't know whose it is, you kind of think to yourself, who left that sweaty thing there? You ain't thinking, oh, I wonder what the designer is on that. You literally think to yourself, ew, that's gross. Who left that sweaty thing there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, she's carrying herself like a child. It's like she's just not, she's not all there, you know? And then they're really promoting this last season of Euphoria like nobody's business. And I'm like, I saw the preview and I'm like, I am so glad I'm missing this show. I don't care. Sydney Sweeney's doing what she does best. The saddest thing I learned about Sydney Sweeney was the first time I'd seen her that I can remember is she was in the music video for the Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds. The song Don't Get Angry With Me. And yeah, so I saw her in that. I didn't even know who she was. But that was Sydney Sweeney in the music video. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, I think we discussed it before. Was she laying across the car bonnet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was, yeah. I didn't know who she was till like we discussed it like last year. I was just like, never seen that before, and I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah. I mean, the song's still great. I like seeing the Stones, but it's like, I'll be fine if I don't see Sydney Sweeney ever again. I'll be just fine. But it's like this, that, and the third. And then, but Melania Trump has bombed even worse than Sydney Sweeney. Let's continue.
Did like all these pre-screenings because it premieres tomorrow, and the production is already losing money. But I don't know if y'all know or have heard of Brett Ratner. He is a disgraced director who was credibly accused by many people, actresses, actors, all kind of people, of inappropriate sexual conduct. He was the director of the docuseries. I feel like pedophiles of a feather, they flock together. I don't know. Anywho, I'm just here to say that I personally will not be watching. I will not be watching. And apparently millions of us won't be either. They say, yeah, ain't nobody buying them tickets. I guess it's just gonna go straight to streaming, on Prime. Okay. I would say I wish her the best of luck, but I don't. I wish that it never sees the light of day, but okay. Well, y'all have a good day. Okay, bye.
Well, I mean, I'll definitely have a better day knowing that that it's not going to make money. That's good. I do not want it to make money. That person, what's amazing is in order to avoid a NC-17 rating, they had to cut out all the bits that she did to earn her Einstein visa.
Yeah, I don't think the public wants to learn how she earned that. It might turn quite a few people sick. Sorry. We already know. It wasn't because she was such a bright student. I mean, well, unless you're trying to get a diploma for dick sucking. Oops, sorry.
No, I mean she got famous for her cheap, sleazy porno shoots. That's it. And then she met Donald Trump. Woo! That was the highlight of her life. So she found a sugar daddy. So yeah, there you go. And the fact that she was allowed to stay in this country, what a travesty.
What? She did meet Trump. She did meet Trump at her Epstein party, didn't she?
Through Epstein, yeah. That's how they met.
Yeah.
So anyway, this fuckwit, well, I guess we'll talk about him first. There was a protest at his church. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would rather read a really tedious book by Hemingway called The Old Man and the Sea than read anything about Melania Trump.
I saw 2 movie versions of that. I'm fine. I don't have to read it again. I'll have to read the book.
I think like the movies are fine, but I've heard the book is supposed to be a bit tedious. So
yeah,
I'm not saying it's not good, but just a hard read, I'd rather read that. So, Pastor,
yeah, this fucking guy.
Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. a suit? Did Jesus wear a suit? No, he didn't. You are a fake pastor. You are a fake Christian. Stand up, fight back.
When you're Nazi ways to get aggressive, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. ICE out! ICE out! ICE out! In the name of Jesus!
We must love this. We have love and support one another.
Yeah, so that was once protesters found out that this local pastor in Minnesota, where Renee Good was shot and murdered by ICE, they found out that this guy was working for ICE, and they went to his church. And I think we need to see more of that. It's like, oh, you want to dabble in fascism and Nazism? You want to be slick and do that? Guess what? We'll meet you at the altar. We don't give a damn. You think you don't scare us? And this church and this pastor was a bit shook up. Not gonna lie, and that's good.
So there was a church in Minneapolis today where the head of ICE was allowed to speak during the Sunday service, and the service was interrupted by protesters who showed up and demanded accountability for ICE, demanded that Christians love their immigrant neighbors. And this is what the pastor had to say when confronted.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
What's actually shameful is for a follower of Jesus and a pastor, someone who's supposed to be leading people in the way of Jesus, to allow the head of ICE to come and speak in their church without being confronted for the grand injustices that ICE is enacting in their very city. It's unloving to claim to be a follower of Jesus and to uplift the very forces, the very organization that is causing your neighbors to live in terror, terror of being murdered, terror of being profiled because of the color of their skin or their accent, terror of being ripped from their family and their community just because they look different. This is not the Christian way. Jesus would not be in this church on this morning. Jesus certainly wouldn't be standing with the head of ICE and supporting them, because ICE is directly opposed to everything that Jesus preached and embodied. And I want to say blessings to the protesters who showed up and raised their voices. They did the truly Christian thing. They showed that this church, this pastor, this ICE representative do not represent the way of Jesus, and they do not represent the way of American democracy.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that pastor's put himself in a very contradictory position. He's a pastor of a church whose job is to look out for people, the whole Christian thing, turn the other cheek. Yet he is head of ICE, who is literally shipping innocent people to a modern day concentration camp. I'm just going to call it that because
yeah.
the conditions.
Oh no, that's exactly what it is. There's a whole list of people who've died in ICE custody. American citizens, by the way.
No, exactly. So I find his position very contradictory. He claims to care and want to protect people, yet in the same sentence, he is literally harming people by being with ICE. So if anybody is a Christian, believe in what you want to believe, but I would avoid that church at all costs.
Well, you know what?
Out for his own gains.
I'm glad that they're so open about their beliefs because it helps us identify who they are. I for one would like to know who the Nazi collaborators are, you know? And that's why I think they should be allowed to speak. They should be allowed to voice their beliefs, because I want them identified. The worst fascist is a hidden fascist, because you don't know where they are. You don't know who they are. You don't know. I mean, it's like you just got to wait for them to strike, you know? Their hidden hand. And I'm so sick and tired of these covert racists and Nazis. And I think it's about time we confront them. I'll tell you what, if the church thinks it can insert itself into the lives of the public and toy with fascism, I think the public should be able to confront the church where they're at.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with that. If the church is so inclined to poke its nose where it's not wanted, then I think the public should be able to do it back. You know?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, what's wrong? You seem so,
yeah,
gung ho. Now what's happened?
Yeah. If the church doesn't want that, then they should just stay out of things that don't, there's no concern of them,
So who is Jonathan Parnell? That's who we're here to talk about. Who knew a Nazi has a name? All about City's church, pastor whose service was stormed by anti-ICE protesters, and Don Lemon. The city's church pastor whose service was interrupted by anti-ICE protesters, Don Lemon, in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, was identified as Jonathan Parnell. This is from the Hindustan Times. The link will be in the description. The pastor whose service was interrupted by a group of anti-ICE protesters who stormed the city's church on January 18th has been identified on social media as Jonathan Parnell. The group, which included former CNN anchor Don Lemon, man, they name him a lot, sabotaged an ongoing service over information that Parnell has alleged ICE ties. Lemon is, first of all, fuck you. The church service was sabotaged? No, I think the service was sabotaged when this pastor invited a high-ranking officer within ICE to speak at his church. That's when I think the hijacking took place. Where the church members, there's a video of the church members walking out of the church. I don't know, trying to pretend like they're ignorant, trying to pretend like, oh, I don't know what's going on. We just came here to worship, and oh, they're not letting us worship. It's like, shut the fuck up. You know exactly what went down. You know exactly what happened. You know exactly why these people are here, and why here's the question I want to know. Why weren't the members of that church standing up and confronting their pastor? I'm telling you, the cult mindset is still so strong with us that it's like we don't want to be ousted from the group. This is why, I mean, one of the reasons I hate groups. I can't abide groups. I don't know. I'm just socially inept, I guess.
Isn't the pastor an ICE agent himself? Doesn't he work for ICE?
From what I was led to believe, he is also a member. He's a coordinator, director, something or other. He's also an author. I guess he wrote a book, Mercy for Today, a daily prayer for Psalm 51. What the fuck? Parnell's bio. Saved by Jesus, Baptist preacher of the Bible in English. Baptist preacher of the Bible in English. What? Why? What the fuck? What kind of a what kind of a bio is that? Anyway, Parnell's acquaintances identified him as the pastor who was confronted by protesters, as many defended him on social media. Author Christopher Young wrote, Pastor Parnell handled himself so well in the midst of protesters disrupting his worship service. Pray for City's Church to shine the light of the gospel of the Twin Cities. How are you shining the light of the gospel when you are comfortable? Oh yeah, pray for the children who were probably traumatized by all this. Oh, the children traumatized by people protesting their pastor who's a fucking Nazi. How many children have been traumatized by ICE? Children left on the street because their parents had just been kidnapped by ICE, and the children were just left there wandering around, abandoned in cars. How many children do you think were, traumatized by that? And then another pastor wrote, oh, of course, yeah, because sometimes it's hard to know how to stand with fellow pastors when they face hardship, suffering, sickness in the public eye. Our brother, Jonathan Parnell, has been thrust into the public eye in ways he never asked for that won't end quickly. Join me in blessing him. A coffee, a lunch, some cash for babysitters to rest after this. Another pastor, this is shameful and should never happen in this country. Pray for City's Church. Sam Brown wrote, Jonathan Parnell is one of the finest, most gracious, most Christ-honoring pastors. I guess, because this is what Jesus would have done. And then he says, oh, the left hates you, Christian. Don Lemon is a fucking Christian. Absolutely hates you. Lord, bring justice against this evildoer. And these are the same people that'll look at ICE and clap whenever they brutalize our citizens, whenever they brutalize migrants, asylum seekers. Boy, it's not hard to know where Hindustan Times stands on this. Boy, they're just laying it on. They must co-sign. They must stand for fascism and Nazism. Doesn't surprise me. The president that they've got. Let's see. In case you didn't know, Hindustan is, I believe, a India-run paper from India. A lot of Trump supporters in India. Does Jonathan Parnell have ICE ties? It says there are no reports to indicate that Parnell has any ties to ICE. Protesters in the... Well, evidently he has ties because he just invited the head of ICE to speak. How could he not have ties to ICE? So, online claims that the church's pastor also serves in a senior role with U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement. Social media posts reveal that the pastor, identified by protesters as David Easterwood, who has been listed in federal records as acting field office director for enforcement and removal operations. And then there's a picture of his fat face. Looks like a fucking thumb with features. There's no independent confirmation in major news reports that Pastor Eastwood is the same individual listed in federal records. Eastwood was not at the Sunday service. And then Pam Bondi speaks out. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what she says. Tax law. Shut the fuck up. That's that. That's the article. Link will be in the description if you want to go through that. Good luck. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with, folks. We've got a pedophile running our country. We've got a bunch of asshat MAGA clowns who are protecting pedophiles. We still don't have the Jeffrey Epstein files. Support for abolishing ICE is surging among Republicans. I think I'm going to save that article because there's another shooting that happened after Renee Good. We'll talk about that tomorrow. He was an ICU nurse. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there is approximately over 70,000 humans in a detention centre that include children at the cost of taxpayers $15 million every year to keep the detainees in the detention.
And that's not including what we're paying these fascist fuckwits. So
yeah.
I've been holding on to this article. I'm just going to read it. So apparently corporations are starting to they're just now saying something about what's happening in their town. And the reason they're breaking their silence, and I'm just going to bury the lead and just say, yeah, well, we know because their employees are fucking tired and sick of it, and they're voicing their complaint, and they're wondering what their corporations are going to do about ICE. Corporation giants in the Twin Cities stayed silent publicly for more than a month as massive federal immigration operations upended daily life and the local economy. Oh, it's hurting their business. They're afraid of losing money. Of course. Of course, they don't want to lose money. Top Minnesota CEOs and business leaders had held phone calls about how to respond instead of going public. They settled on working behind the scenes to warn Trump administration officials and Republican leaders about economic damage from the surge of immigration agents to Minneapolis. The people spoke under the condition of my God, these fucking cowards. Fucking cowards. And we did talk about Target. Target was in the news. They've been basically allowing ICE to just come into their shop, into their businesses and yank their employees as if Target isn't losing enough money. Now they're going to lose even more money because people are going to be like, look, if ICE is going to be free to wander around Target, I don't want to be there either. See, that's another thing. When these thugs show up, people stop going to these businesses where they frequent. This is why I'm telling you what, the small business community in this country is they have a lot more ovarian fortitude than any of these fucking clowns that run these multi-million-dollar companies. The gas station owners are saying, get out. We don't want you here. Out of our store. You're not getting gas, and you're not, well, actually, I don't think they can stop them from getting gas, but you're not coming in to use the bathroom, and we don't want your business. Get out of here. Local restaurants are saying, no, you can't eat here. And I'm like, yes, this is what every company should be doing right now. After the deplorable, detestable actions taken by ICE. And these fucking parishioners are worried about the children. Oh, we're going to traumatize. How about the children that are watching these goons rip people from their cars? There were children who are watching this footage. You don't think they're going to get traumatized?
What about the children in the car that ICE are taking their parents away and just leaving the kids in the car, or taking the kids and sticking them in detention centers?
Yeah, Target, United Health, Best Buy, Cargill, all of these Minnesota-based companies issued a joint statement Sunday calling for an immediate de-escalation of tensions and for state, local, and federal officials to work together to find real solutions. How about stop sending money to the Trump administration, you fucking ghouls? Don't forget, these corporations are sending money to Donald Trump. The recent challenges facing our state have created widespread. You helped cause this. And the tragic loss of life. Fuck you. Some Minnesota Democrats criticized the company's statement for failing to mention immigration, condemning the shooting of Petty and Renee Good. Yeah, another U.S. citizen. They can't even bring themselves to even mention the atrocities committed by the agents of the state. Won't even talk about it. It is far from sufficient. The clear way to de-escalate is for ICE to leave. No, it's for ICE to be dismantled, and every one of those officers that participated in that, they need to be brought on charges. They can't even do that. Fear of Trump. Unbelievable. Joint statement from Minnesota companies has been in the works prior to Petty's killing Saturday, but discussions accelerated immediately afterward. A person familiar with the letter said, Target's incoming CEO, yeah, there we go again, incredibly painful violence in Minneapolis, in a video message to employees. They're stealing your employees. We read an article just the other day about an employee that went to his car for lunch, or was in the break room, and they stormed in and grabbed him. There was a video of, I think it was a Target store where this 17-year-old American citizen was brutally ripped and shoved into a back of a car. And then when they found out, oh, he's the citizen, they dropped him off in a Walmart parking lot and just left him there. 17 years old. Oh, and just now they're breaking their silence. Minnesota companies had resisted publicly denouncing immigration operations in recent weeks. Although customers staged protests at Target and other local stores, immigration officers arrested employees and small businesses organized a citywide general strike. Major companies deemed it too risky to speak out. Motherfucker. When the people decide a general nationwide strike, you're going to lose big time. Yeah. These companies with operations around the United States and internationally also monitor local and national sentiment closely. They judged that widespread anger over the crackdown in the Twin Cities had not spread nationally. Bullshit. They knew what was going on. My fucking God. Anybody with social media, you see what's happening. Yeah, the decision to speak up and the company's guarded language. Oh, right. How about missing language? How about completely redacted language? Reflected how they are trying to stay in step with broad public sentiment without antagonizing the administration. They're literally helping the administration. They sent money to his campaign. I'll tell you what, if these businesses are burned to the ground, I will not shed a tear. Signs of unease has spread. No shit. Staying quiet on key economic issues like immigration represents a reversal in the public relations strategy of a once vocal group of corporate giants. Giants. Fuck. You know, the Twin Cities' long tradition as a welcoming place for refugees and immigrants dating back to the Vietnam War also helped make it a business-friendly hub. Really? Because who knew? Who knew that helping refugees and immigrants, helping them also generates business? And it becomes a business-friendly hub because customers are like, you know what? I feel safe here. We'll shop at your store. Minnesota's Chamber of Commerce said in 2021, Minnesota needs immigrant entrepreneurs and workers. They embody the spirit of our homegrown economy. Yeah, they do. And when they're ripped from their jobs, when they don't show up to their jobs because they're in fear, it hurts the economy. Who knew? This was back in 2021. There's no excuse. 5 years later, where are you at and what have you learned? Target invested billions of dollars in black-owned vendors, opened stores in minority neighborhoods, and stocked shelves with LGBT-themed merchandise for Pride Month. A few years later, many companies scrapped their policies because of opposition from the Trump administration, right-wing activists on social media, and lawsuits from conservative legal groups. So you caved, and now your business is in the slump. Good. So they decided to go quiet. They found few reasons to stick their necks out, even tepidly. Shut the fuck up. You don't cower to fascists and fascism. They're not going away. I'm going to save the Kyle Rittenhouse article for later. Megyn Kelly opening up her fucking mouth again because she wants more clout. She's realizing, oh, if I say more inflammatory shit, my goodness, I can get more money that way. Sirius XM Radio, you're on notice. You keep fucking around, you're gonna find out too. And this is why Megyn Kelly feels that she can just spout shit like she's doing because, oh well, you know what? The company I work for, they're not doing anything to stop me, so I guess I'm just gonna keep being a bitch. A Nazi Barbie bitch. Slogans to uniform. Nazification of ICE is everywhere. This is from the British Independent. It is one of the oldest tricks in the authoritarian playbook. Aesthetic first, policy second. Exactly. All hat, no cattle. Before the mass arrests, before the street violence, before the bureaucracy hardens into the machine, you soften the ground with imagery that makes the coming crackdown feel righteous and necessary and inevitable. That is why it matters urgently that America's immigration enforcement apparatus is now recruiting in a visual and rhetorical register that looks, sounds, and feels uncomfortably like the 1930s. No, strike that. How about let's go further than that?
Is that this time period is very reminiscent of a 1930s Germany. And while I do understand the similarities, I would like to remind people that 1930s Germany only existed because of a Jim Crow America. And Hitler literally took tactics from Jim Crow America to write his playbook, but we were the original script writers. When this administration says that they want to make America great again, this is the time frame that they're referencing, when Black Americans had to carry around their freedom papers to prove that they were citizens and were otherwise arrested. When there was a curfew for Black Americans that if they missed, they could be arrested. And I think that we need to acknowledge that this isn't happening solely because Trump is in office. Trump is in office because this is what America voted for. Project 2025 clearly outlined what this administration was going to do, and people wanted it to happen. But because now that we're seeing it with our own eyes, and they don't want the responsibility of people knowing that they voted for this because everything is being filmed, now they want to backtrack. You cannot change what you can't acknowledge. And I think the first step is acknowledging that this is who we've always been as a nation. This is who we are as a nation right now. And that in order to change that, we have to confront our history, accept that that's what it was, and then we can move forward to make sure this doesn't ever happen again.
Did you have a thought to add?
Yeah, so ICE has shot approximately at the moment 32 people, and 8 of those people have died as a result. I think she is completely right as well. You know, I have no notes to add on to that. ICE is a menace. ICE are thugs, you know. And yeah, the country is in serious trouble because these dangerous people are already out there, and they just voted Trump back in. You know, Trump is just basically giving them what they want. You know, the racists were always there. Trump has just made them feel more comfortable to be more open with their disgustedness. So, you know, I think it's going to take a long while to get this completely sorted out, you know. And I do think, you know, white people are going to have to go through hard times before most of them get their heads out of their bums and, you know, get things sorted out. Because, yeah, we are basically dying of whiteness.
Yeah. And to illustrate her point that she made, the Nazis didn't just appear out of nowhere. They studied American law when it came to African Americans and also Native Americans. That is how they got their final solution going. I mean, their fascists are unimaginative. They always borrow for someone else's homework. They copy. That's all they did. And that's how they were able to, you know, they got rid of gypsies, they got rid of Jews, they got rid of communists. Anybody that was deemed unworthy. And they also got rid of people that were mentally handicapped, physically handicapped as well.
Mm-hmm. People in the LGBT community as well. Anybody that didn't align with their ideology of how they think someone should be, they just murdered them. Absolutely disgusting.
Yep. And they're using Nazi propaganda. So they start with the imagery, the slogans, the memes, the rhetoric. That's just all over. It's all over TikTok. It's all over Twitter, Facebook even. So then once they start cracking down, there's people who are like, yeah, that's exactly what I voted for, because you've had the last 15 years demonizing anybody that's not white. They've been demonizing black people for hundreds of years in this country. So whenever black people were brutalized by the police, white America looked the other way and said, well, they must have done something. And now white people are having the privilege of being brutalized by the state and by the police. Well done. So you've got all of this rhetoric, you've got all of these code that they always speak in code, but the fascist comes out. It all comes out, and this is why they elect these bumblefuck idiots. You know, the worst of the worst, and people are like, "Oh, well, they just need training." No, they're trained exactly to do exactly what they're doing. These guys, I mean, they're too stupid for the military, and the cops won't even have them. That's how bad they are. You tell me, would you trust any of these guys with anything?
No.
Look at this batch of losers. There's Bovino, who's just been replaced. They're sending him out east. And this fucking idiot's he's gonna be allowed to retire, and he'll be living on a pension, and he'll get to podcast. Oh, by the way, I keep forgetting what that Nazi group is. They always wear white coverings over their face. They wear blue and tan. American Front or something like that. Patriot Front. People's Front. The Judeans, People's Front. People's Front of Judea. Fucking knows. And they're recruiting en masse. They're recruiting young kids. And, it's like, where are the parents? You're letting your kids join these incel groups. And this is who we have running around the streets, putting our citizens at risk. I think I'm going to keep that graphic for next or tomorrow's show. But this is where it starts. And the article talks about the 1930s Germany, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, come on, guys. Dig deeper. They're not behaving like 1930s Germany. They're acting like the slave catchers of the 1800s. Well, it's going to be about the killing of the... But, so these people are just disgusting. And we're turning into a fascist state. And what's amazing to me is the Second Amendment crowd, the Don't Tread on Me crowd, they're nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. That's ironic. It's like, where are you, brave soldiers who are... you were okay standing against Democrats when they asked you to put on a mask. When they asked you to get a vaccine. Well, I'm going to stay in the camp. And then you're going to storm the Capitol because nothing's going to happen to you. That's why you're comfortable brandishing your weapons. But when these thugs show up, you're nowhere to be found. It was never about immigration. It was racism.
And control.
Yeah. And what's his name? Fuentes was talking about, he was blasting the ICU nurse for being a what? He called him a race traitor. Literally used those words. He called him a race traitor for standing up against ICE and standing up for migrants who are getting brutalized. A race traitor. Imagine that. Hey, Black MAGA, I hope you're paying attention. I hope you're paying attention. They don't want you. They don't care about you. They'll happily use your rhetoric, but as soon as your token is spent, they're done with you. They don't even want you around, and you're on their side. What about that black gay man that was who was trying to go to a Trump rally and he got beaten up while waiting in line? Another one was harassed. And the only thing that saved him, I think, was he was videoing it. And he's trying to laugh it off, saying, hey, we're all on the same team here, guys, right? 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 And they're just harassing him, saying, yeah, get it in there, It's like, when are you going to get it? Last article for today, this is going to be from the Alternate. Christian nationalists could resort to violence if GOP loses midterms. This is from a Southern Baptist. Yeah, they've been threatening violence for a long, long time. They've been talking about 1776. Oh, we're gonna do 1776, and we're gonna go after the government, and we're gonna blah 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 blah. One religious scholar is warning that the 2026 midterm elections could prompt a violent response from the far right of evangelical Christians. I wonder why. During a Monday interview with Zeteo host John Harwood, Public Religion Research Institute founder and President Robert P. Jones, who holds on, I'd like to get a hold of this interview. I'm not going to play it today. Oh, it might even show it. It's 38 minutes long. I'll see if I can. Yeah, I'm not going to play it now, but that's interesting. Zeteo host John Harwood, Public Religion Research Institute founder and President Robert P. Jones, who holds a divinity from Southern Baptist Theological Seminary and a PhD from Emory University, spoke about how President Donald Trump's MAGA movement has captured a vast bulk of Christian evangelicals. Bull fucking shit. They were not captured. They were already in that mindset. They just didn't have a name for it. Harwood asked Jones whether MAGA Christians were excusing Trump's brutality and cruel behavior due to innate racism, or if they were simply people fearing yes and yes, or if they were simply people fearing becoming a demographic minority and overwhelmed by the loss of life they were accustomed to. Yes. Do you feel sorry for the people who are embracing what the Trump administration is doing because they're scared, or what? Well, I should say, I am those people. These are my people. Like I said, I grew up in the deep, deep South. Jones said, this is deep for me and personal. It's a big mix of emotions. I feel some anger about it for sure, but I also feel some compassion, mostly because I feel like what has happened is that they let their own fears take control of their lives, and they let it snuff out the primary vision of Christianity, which is supposed to be about love. There's even now some white evangelical circles, a straightforward and serious theological attack on the virtue of empathy. Like, that's where we are, right? They're deconstructing empathy because Elon Musk has cast empathy as the great weakness. No, it didn't start with Elon Musk. You got to go back 4 decades before that. Blame it on Elon Musk. Elon Musk is just capitalizing on the verbiage that was already out there. Elon Musk didn't come out with empathy as a weakness. Charlie Kirk didn't come out with this empathy is a weakness. I think those people are sincerely lost. They're lost religiously, they're lost politically, and I'm hoping we can call enough of them back to the fold in order to save the country. Why? How is getting them back in the fold going to save the country? You preachers and theologians have been promoting this oh, there's this hate of Christians and this hate of Christianity, and it's all over, and they're trying to take us down, and the devil is just influencing. You've been talking about a devil ridden country for decades, ever since the Brown versus the Board of Education. Oh my goodness, we've just lost. We now have to integrate with black people. Oh no, we got to pull our kids out of these schools, these godless communist schools, and put them in our cult churn, whatever. I can't think of it. Yeah, I mean, you've been promoting this ideology, and you're surprised that this is where we're at? This is what Christianity teaches. Some of the biggest batshit, unhinged conspiracy theories are contained right in the Bible. Why wouldn't the MAGA movement come out of that? Why not? So we're already seeing some moves and even breaks within the Christian world. I think we may be heading for some very difficult days. You mean actual violence, or do you mean very, very intense political disagreement? I'm deeply, deeply worried about the midterm elections being a flashpoint for violence in this country. Wow, I guess January 6th never happened. Fuck me dead. These are the same people that would throw, if Jesus Christ were ever to come back and he came through the southern border, these people would throw Jesus in a cage. I'm convinced that these people who put crosses in their bios would crucify Christ if he ever came back again. They'd do it all over again. Shut him up. He sounds like a communist, a godless communist. Oh, the irony. The absolute irony. I'm going to send this in the chat because I don't want to lose this.
Okay.
But
I'll save it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is what Christianity has wrought in this country. Christianity has taught a bunch of people that they have a right to have dominion. They have a right to conquer, to vanquish. Listen to the people that are in the comments sections. Whenever they talk about history, listen to the colonialist language that they use. We conquered these people. We conquered this landmass. It's ours now. They believe they have the dominion over other people. They believe they have the dominion to subjugate people and to force their Christ down the throats of anybody who doesn't believe. Look at how we treated Native Americans in this country. The Puritans, as soon as they got the majority, they wreaked havoc. They burned villages to the ground. Natives that were otherwise peaceful, they couldn't abide them because they would not submit to their Christian ideology, so they burned them out. They even burned entire towns that had natives and settlers living. They commingled. They were together. They ate together. They partied together. They laughed. They danced. They sang together. And the Puritans could not stand it. And they believed it was their God-given right to wipe these people out. Sick of this shit. And so why wouldn't they be okay with brutalizing people that they do not like? So, yeah. I got 3 other articles that I want to mention for tomorrow's show, but we'll get to that. So thank you for listening to my ranting and raving. We'll see you all on the next show. And if you liked what you heard, or you want to have more independent media in your life, please consider supporting the show. Cash App, Venmo, or become a patron subscriber. Links will be down in the description.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We love reading your comments. Thank you for your support, and we shall hopefully see you all tomorrow.
And with that, take care, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars to fade away the shake-up. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when niggas deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when niggas deserve to die. I commend my spirit, Father, into your hands. Why have you forsaken me? In your eyes forsaken me. In your thoughts forsaken me. In your heart forsaken me. Oh, trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when leaders deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide.